It's been 2 weeks since the drivers of the NC811 Limited Series has been on track, but tonight they take on Talladega here on Turn 1. Hello, everybody. I'm Sean Fitz. Glad you're with us. This is race number 6, and what does that mean? Well, we've had 5 different races. Obviously, we can all count on one hand, but that means there's been 5 different winners. And tonight, Talladega Super Speedway Racing, at its core, can produce winner number 6 here tonight. Glad you're with us for what is, I'm sure, going to be another great race here with this limited series group. Again, hello, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in tonight. We head to Las Vegas and then next Thursday night on to Nashville Super Speedway. Can't wait to head to Nashville. That's going to be a really interesting track with these trucks here in this limited series group. Clearly, we have seen a ton of talent out of these drivers, and, well, we're going to continue to see it here at this Talladega Super Speedway. Man, nearly 3 miles of 3-wide racing up and down the leaderboard. Fully possible here tonight with this group, and Shannon Wood, Brian Wortman on the pole. That's going to be a stout front row. Robert Barber, Joey Gentina, roll number 2. Cody DeFords, Vincent Short, Joe Hudson, Johnny Barker, Glenn Campbell, and Doug Roth make up that top 10 as they're getting grid up and ready to roll here tonight. R.B. Turner, Richard Swavely. Richard Swavely's won a race here so far this season. Can he bring home win number 2? He could be a repeat winner. We'll find out. He's going to start 12th tonight. Kevin Stone, Steve Ritter, Rob Lowell, your top 15. And then it's Reba Caton, 16th. John Fowler, Scott Formosa, Eli Raposa, and Troy Haight is going to start number 20 here tonight. You're going to hear a lot of storylines, but one of them will be the primary. What will be the biggest one, obviously, in that it does not matter where you start. It doesn't matter where you are with 20 to go. All it matters is where you are on that last lap, and if you're anywhere near that front row while not being the leader, that will determine what you could bring home here tonight. It could be a plot of grass and a beat-up truck, or it could be a checker flag. We're going to find out here in about 65 laps. Doug Sigmund, Ron Millum is going to start 22nd. And then it's, who's that? Colton Adams is going to start 23rd. Mark Schrader, Lane Phillips, Alan Marshall, James Smith, Casey Duncan, DeAndre Kane, your top 30. And then Ron Holyfield, Roger Gregory, Brandon Garand, and Robert Van Nest, your top 34. It looks like Gerald Livingston is going to start from the pit here tonight. Again, they get rolling around this really long, nearly 3-mile racetrack in Alabama for this limited series group. 75% fuel load, I do believe. 2 sets of tires in the pits. 1 green-white checker attempt to wrap this thing up under green flag conditions for this limited series. And I tell you what, if you've not been part of this group racing over the last many weeks, you're going to want to check them out. Head on over to sim500.com and take a look at the full schedule. Not only on Thursday nights, but they're racing on Mondays too. That's the Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series. Just put on a hell of a show at Daytona. Well, they'd love to see you check them out as well. Sim500.com for all the information, schedules, signups, and more. Get connected, go racing with Sim 500. Down the backstretch, behind the pace car, we're going to see the start of this race kick off, and we'll talk about strategies as we go here tonight. But I assure you, it's going to be 2 options. You're either in the front or you're in the back. Nobody wants to be in the middle. Have you ever been on the 405 in Los Angeles? Have you ever been on I-4 to Orlando? That's what it feels like here at Daytona. You'd either be the leader or you'd better be back at the Waffle House waiting for the traffic to die down. And, well, somebody is going to walk away with the lead here as soon as this green flag drops. And the other person, they may be looking for the exit. We'll find out. Pace car down pit road. 65 laps of racing action. Getting ready to come at you live all the way down this broad streak, streak of front stretch here at Talladega. The start finish line, not in the traditional place, But they're going to see the flag man right there. The green flag will wave. The limited series is green at Talladega. Side by side they go, ripping down the backstretch for the first time here tonight. Workman out front. Remember, he started on that front row, that 14 car, or truck rather. Joey Gentina on the inside row inside basically. It's File was top 3. And then it gets side by side. That's Shannon Wood, Robert Barker, Vincent Short, and others there. Workman's been really putting it down and has got some speed here in the 14 truck. That guy right there, that's Joey Gentina. We call him the boss man around Sim 500 as they take lap number 1. Gentina has been, he's been quick. Nearly had a win just a few weeks ago. Lost connection. And then he's already won this season once. So he's looking for an opportunity to put a couple more checkered flags in the record book for him in this limited series before the end of this season, late May. Working lap number 2 here is right down to the bottom of these trucks, starting to really build up the speed here. That's Robert Barber ducking to the outside. He is looking to pick up that outside group and maybe build a bit of a run. The 14 sticking right here with Brian Workman as they head down through the tri-oval. Really everybody playing it a little cautious here as Workman moves up, pull up Shannon Wood just a little bit on that outside. You've got to be there at the very end. This is going to be a little bit of a race. You need to get all the way to lap 63 to even have a chance to bring home a checker flag here. So these limited series drivers have been putting on really strong shows over the last 5 races. Everybody's been patient with each other, and for the most part, mindful. But Talladega is going to take a whole new level of patience as we see Shannon Wood and Robert Barber start to build a bit of a momentum on that outside line. They've got Vincent Short with them. They're going to challenge Brian Workman on that inside line as they work through this tri-oval here for the first time. New leader Shannon Wood. Lap number 4. Wood there, he's free and clear now. This is something to pay close attention to. This will start to show you where the alliances live up and down the racetrack. Wood continuing to lead on that outside line just a bit. He's got, again, like I mentioned, Vincent Short and then Robert Barber. That was talking about those alliances just a little bit there. Barber decided to break camp and move down off the nose of Brian Workman. Now all of a sudden Brian Workman, Joey Gentina and others there starting to slide back in that inside line. The outside line typically is where you can build the most momentum. And well, again, as I talked about those alliances, Wood has got Vincent Short up there. Those two have stayed together while Barber moves down off the nose. And we got a truck deep down to the inside. Who is that? I believe that is Joey Gentina. This is Gentina. He's bailing out. If he can't be on the he's going to, we talked about, you're either going to be in the front or you're going to go to the Waffle House with Joey Gentina. He said, listen, make him scrambled, covered, smothered, whatever. I'm going to the back. The 14. It's the ejecto seat button as Brian Workman's going to do the same. Things are heating up at the front, and Workman's going to head down pit road. Shannon Wood now is going to be on the point, but it's 3 wide all of a sudden up here up front. Wood is not going to be able to control both lines. Here comes Alan Marshall. Remember I said 3 wide racing? Well, that's going to be the name of the game here at Talladega, and you're seeing it right here on turn 1. These trucks firmly and fully up to speed. This field still not on full press as that inside lane is starting to lose some momentum. Robert Barber on the bottom's leading the charge. And then you got Alan Marshall on that outside, Cody DeForge there on the inside. And then Alan Marshall, you see all of a sudden now that middle line is pretty much gone. And this is everybody just jockeying for position. Some drivers, they want to see what they've got early. They want to run up here to the front of the race. Hey, let me see what it takes to get to the front. Other drivers, they know they've got a fast piece and they want to keep it saved up. And then you've got drivers like the 83 of Robert Barber, who is, he's pretty much, hey, I'm up front. I got a chance to lead this thing. Watch this, boys. I'm going to put some lead laps under my belt. And he's got DeForge. He's also got Joe Hudson up there with him. Glenn Campbell's moved up into the top 5. And then R.B. Turner. And we were talking about him. He's already up 6 spots on the night, sitting in 5th. 6 trucks make a single file line here. All of a sudden, that 3 wide actions move towards the rear of the field, but Barber has got DeForge settled in. And keep in mind, there's been a lot of action all up and down the racetrack. And we are just working lap number 8 here of 65 for the the NC811 Limited Series on turn 1. We got a bunch of folks tuned in on YouTube and on Facebook here tonight. Welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't already done so, like, subscribe, or do what you need to do to get connected. We would love the support. And say, listen, you want to hear who your favorite driver is tonight? Who do you think is going to be able to bring home the checkered flag? I'd love to hear it. Right now, Joe Hudson has moved to the point while Robert Barber on that inside line. He's got DeForge glued to the bumper there, but Hudson making some moves. He's got Glenn Campbell with him on that outside. New leader, Joe Hudson, this lap. But I'd love to hear, who is your winner here tonight? Who do you think is going to be a standout here this evening? I'll tell you what, we will make a prediction around lap 50 or so if we get an opportunity. And we'll have the turn 1 pick of the night as we got wrecking down the backstretch. Trucks everywhere. And they're still piling up just a little bit. That's Lane Phillips, last week's race winner, heading towards the inside. That's going to bring the caution out for the first time here tonight. Let's look at Ron Millam & Co. Oh, that's where it started. Just nowhere to go for some of these guys. That is a track blocker there. While others were able to squeak through. Robert Van Nest involved and a couple others. Looks like Barry Stevens, Kevin Stone. Richard Swavely was involved in this, and then Johnny Barker as well. Just nowhere to go. The 32 moves up. Oh, yeah, that'll happen here at these super speedway races. We don't typically see a whole lot happening down this backstretch here in Talladega. You often see it the most loading up into the corners, but this is going to bring the first caution out and going to collect at least 7 or 8 trucks here on lap number 10. Up front, it's Joe Hudson, Glenn Campbell, Robert Barber, Shannon Wood, Cody DeForge, your top 5. Then it's Doug Roth, R.B. Turner, John Fowler, Vincent Shorten. Man, Brandon Garan's having a night so far. He's moved up into the top 10. He's up 23 spots on the evening. He's also, I believe, Brandon, you've won a race this season, I do believe. So, yeah, what a wild turn of events he did. Brandon actually won at Daytona just a few weeks ago. So, yeah, super speedway master maybe in that one truck. We're going to find out. Let's road under caution here for the first time. A couple trucks are going to come down pit road, I'm sure. But what does this mean from a fuel mileage perspective? Keep in mind, these trucks only about a 75% fuel load. So not the same mileage you would see in most other races, especially in like the C Open races and other events. So I think a lot of these guys are going to come down probably about 20-25 laps of endurance in these machines. And they're going to visit pit road for the first time, with the exception of Robert Barber. we're going to step aside for the first time here tonight. Barber's going to lead here as they are under caution for the first time for an incident on the backstretch. You're watching turn 1. First pit stops in the books here so far tonight as we are wrapping up caution number 1 at Talladega on turn 1. Robert Barber elected to stay out. And, well, I think he's looking... I don't think he thinks we're done having some of these caution flags out. Then it's Joe Hudson, Shannon Wood, Glenn Campbell, Cody DeForge, your top 5 as we're going to see our first restart of the night. The pace car is going to head down pit road. We talked about this start-finish line and how different it is for a lot of racetracks. Well, it really, truly is. You'll see these drivers wrap around right about there is where the start-finish line for most of the other oval tracks on the NASCAR circuit, but for Talladega, you got to come all the way down here to the halfway past, or halfway to turn 1 before you see it. And Robert Barber saw the green flag there. He got rolling. About a 5-truck jump out there. And then that's Shannon Wood, Joe Hudson, RB Turner, Glenn Campbell, and co. all pretty much, and all of a sudden now you see everybody kind of spread out. That jump there by Barber gets the field mostly spread out. That's going to let everybody get single file with the exception of that outside line. And I believe that is Glenn Campbell, Joe Hudson out there. It is. Those two drivers looking to pair up and down. That second line starting to form up a little bit as these RPMs starting to come up in these trucks. Right before the caution, we talk about, you don't typically see cautions down that backstretch, and that's true. We typically see them as cars, especially get tight, going off into the entry of turn 3 is a commonplace, but obviously the backstretch can be a factor as well. And you see some drivers really start to build some runs here. As speaking of, you see who is that? That is Troy Hayden on the outside all by himself using some side draft, maybe trying to form up that third line a little bit, but drivers build up those runs all the way through 1 and 2. You get massive speed coming through there, and then, well, you have nowhere to go with it. And that'll happen on the backstretch here at Talladega at times. Barber still on the point there. Keep it in mind, everybody else around him's got 10 more laps of the Sunoco race fuel on board than he does. He did not come down pit road here. I suspect he will have to come around lap 25 even with these cautions. So we'll see how this all plays out. This very well may not be a good move for the 83. Meanwhile, Shannon Wood, RB Turner, Vincent Short, Cody DeForge, and others, everybody else coming down pit road. Takes about 2 laps to get up to speed here at Talladega. These trucks now are there. 190 mile an hour as they head off down to the corner. A lot of truck to hang on, a lot of racetrack to use up. But right now, our top 4 single filed out on the bottom. And you know what? Let's ride around with Rob Lowell. He's in that 21 truck. Let's take a lap or 2 around Talladega with our drivers. A top 4 Chevrolet group of trucks up front with Barber, Wood, Turner, and Short. It takes Rob Lowell, Steve Ritter to break that group up with 2 Fords, and then it is Chevrolets for the next 5. We don't see the first Toyota until we look back at 14th place of Cody DeForge. Riding around back there in 14. He's got Mark Schrader, a fellow Toyota driver, sitting back there in 15th, but we've seen DeForge up and down the running order all night. Manufacturers for these trucks certainly don't matter nearly as much in iRacing as they do in real world, but nonetheless, Some Chevy fans dominating the top 10 here so far tonight at Talladega as Barber, Wood, RB, Turner, Short, and others. This field's mostly single filed out here. Really no big push. Everybody's just settled in here at Talladega so far. Taking a look at that 02 truck, that's RB Turner. We got some RB Turner fans in the chat on YouTube. That truck looking pretty sharp here tonight. I like that. What is that a, I don't know if that's green, but it's mighty close to it. And that bright yellow and red, blue Chevrolet of RB Turner. His fans showing up in force. Thank you so much for being here. He's having a good night so far. He's up 8 spots. And right where he needs to be in that third place position so far. Single fouled out in front of him. Right in line with Mr. Shannon Wood. Looking through the rest of the field, you're not missing too much. I say that, but there are 3 wide back here. Keep in mind, this is 3 wide. That's Jatino right there in the middle. He's got Doug Roth and oh goodness, is that DeAndre Kane? I believe it is. Right there with him. 3 wide, and I bet you if I'm in the helmet of the 14 truck right now, I bet he is saying, hey, boys, we don't got to do this back here. Settle down. We got a long way to go. and just like that, everybody giving each other a little bit of room. But Jatino right in the middle, nowhere to go. Back there running around that 15th place position. Another driver I know who's excited to get off the grid here tonight, that's Troy Haight. He is running up 15 spots on the night in 5th. Having a good night so far. He's got the 1 of Brandon Garan right behind him. Again, a proven super speedway race winner here with the limited series. And yeah, everybody. All the fast guys you would think to be up front are up front. And that's how this limited group is ran. I tell you, if you've not been watching the racing with this series, it's been top tier. And the unique part about it is you have a cap on iRating. If you've never ran iRacing before and don't know what iRating is, well, it is essentially a grade. You get a grade every race you run, and then over a period of time, your grade begins to average out, and you race with people nearly on the same grade or the same level as you. Makes things fair and equitable here on iRacing. Well, the drivers here, you cannot have a grade higher than, or an iRating higher than 3,000. That's what makes this limited series unique and special. And man, I tell you what, it truly has been putting on phenomenal racing since the kickoff back in early February. Robert Barber continues his streak of leading laps here, but I tell you what, if I'm the driver of the 83, I don't want to be on this front row. He is in a very unique position. He did not come down pit road under that first caution. Everybody else pit on lap 10. He elected to stay out. He's the only driver that stayed out. And so he does not have as much fuel. Let's say the 2 truck behind him or the 02 of RB Turner, Vincent Short, and others. So he's in a very unique position that not only is he on the point here tonight and has been for some time, leading laps here at Talladega, but he's also short on fuel against everybody else around him. Now, keep in mind, everybody else can't, they're going to have to stop at least 2 more times, I do believe. I don't think they could make it on one stop. But I think Barber is probably hoping for a bit of a caution here to come out sooner rather than later and bring everybody down with him, but he's going to have a very tight window to see that come to fruition. Otherwise, it's, one of the things that happens here with this super speedway racing is you got to have friends and you got to have some people to go with. And green flag pit stops is really could be race ending for Robert Barber if he has to come down pit road by himself and doesn't have a group of drivers to go with him. You need a draft. You need some partners. You need some coordination with friends. And right now, Robert Barber on the point, and he's got his foot matted. That was the other point I was going to make. Out front here with these super speedway races, if you want to save fuel, you want to be back there in 15th. You want to be back towards the back of the pack where the bubble's large and you got the hole punched in the air for you. But Barber, he has got his foot down and trying to keep that thing as wide open as he possibly can, and that's going to consume more of that Sunoco race fuel here on board for these drivers tonight. And there you go. I called it. Barber's going to come down, and this is going to be disastrous for the 83. Down pit road. He needs to have a clean pit stop. And really everything to go his way. He's going to surrender that lead. He's going to lose a lap and hope he can tack back on the back end of this field, but it is going to be a tough proposition for that driver as we are working lap number 25, and that just confirms my suspicion of the range. And I don't think, unless a lot of these drivers are really being conservative, I don't think they could go one more stop and make it the rest of the way. We saw him on lap 25, so that tells me we'll see him probably around lap 35 if we don't see a caution. They'll come down around lap 35, and I don't see a way they can make it 30 laps. I don't think you're going to save 5 laps under green flag conditions here. But we'll see how it all shakes out. Wood back to the point. RB Turner is going to take advantage, move up to second. Vincent Short, Rob Lowell, Steve Ritter, Joe Hudson, Glenn Campbell, Joey Chatina, Cody DeForge, and Ron Holyfield, the top 10. In this front pack, that's Doug Roth, Mark Schrader, John Fowler, Eli Raposa, DeAndre Kane, Reba Caton, Troy Hay, Ron Millum. Brandon Grand's back there, and then it's Doug Sigmund. And then you see a bit of a gap, and this is about a 5-truck, 6-truck breakaway here. Swavely, Stone, James Smith, Scott Formosa, Alan Marshall, Robert Van Nest running right there in 26. We talked about Barber, and really he is out here on an island by himself, and he's off into turn 1. The leaders right now working around the tri-oval, and they are going to be putting down some lap times that'll be pretty significant in terms of speed, different here for Robert Barber, so this group will catch him fairly quickly. Just looking at lap times here, so 1st through 10th. You know, you see that on track here, and this is slow, what I would consider slow at Talladega. A lot of these drivers got it in full conservation mode. The 1st through 10th, everybody's within 6/10 or so of one another, 7/10 of one another. So that just shows you how fast, within a blink, you'll see this top 10 slide by you here at these super speedway tracks. And if you've never attended a race at Daytona or Talladega in person, I'd strongly recommend you do it, because it can be, you feel them coming before you hear them coming. The ground around you shakes, the stands will rattle and vibrate. It's a hell of a time. Strongly recommend everybody check that out. Speaking of check it out, let's look back at Robert Barber all by himself here, rolling through 3 and 4. He is, we'll call him coming out of 4 right here, and then that's the leaders going into 3. I got a glimpse of him there coming down the backstretch, and only about a backstretch separated. You see him there as well, so this lead pack crew is going to catch him. Now, Robert Barber is going to do his damnedest to hang on to this lead lap, and what he will do is merge in with this group, and he will be able to tuck in on the draft. But what he has to be very careful of is avoiding trying to tag on too soon. We'll talk more about that when time comes, but in short, you cannot jump in front of this group or otherwise get kind of mixed up with this group. They're going to blow his doors off 5, 6, 7 mile an hour faster, and he may feel like he can maybe block a line a little bit, so they push him or try to squeeze it up here with these leaders, and I think that's just that leads to some disaster on occasion at these super speedway racetracks. So we'll see where he elects to blend in. Still a little chaotic back here. Again, this is that 14th, 15th place area. So we got, that's Troy Haight. He's up there riding in that third line. We've seen Haight be up there a couple times this week, or this evening so far. Not this week, rather. Riding up there in that third line, maybe trying to figure it out. We could see those runs really materialize from that outside line at some point here tonight. And some drivers have a knack for it. You saw Daytona, not only in these trucks back in February, early February, but you also have seen it. You've also seen the Cup Series cars last Monday night at Daytona. It was really hard. It's tight to run 3 wide at Daytona. Certainly capable and doable. And a lot of these drivers will give it a shot, but Talladega is where you see pretty much everybody run 3 wide. And I think the track not only is just a smidge wider, but those white striped lines you see through the corner there help everybody kind of steady their approach through the corner. And help kind of be that guiding light, or guiding line rather, for a lot of these drivers to smooth things out. And we'll see a lot of 3 wide racing, and we already have here this evening. Shannon Wood, RB Turner, Short, Lowell, Ritter, they're all catching up. And you see that RB Turner right there. He's going to stay right in that bottom line. I'm not shocked. Everybody else is going to move up. He's going to make everybody race around him, and that's not a bad move out of that 83 truck. I'll tell you why here in just a moment, as he's going to continue to slide through. That's going to mix up this pack just a little bit. But now, you see it right there. That is why that inside line makes a lot of sense for a lap truck to do, especially if you want to arrest your fall through the field. He made everybody else drive around him. He knew there was going to be folks on the bottom there. Everybody drove around, and what that did is gave him more draft quicker. He wasn't on the outside, didn't have to move around a whole lot. It just kind of absorbed him in. And now RB Turner settled in back with the lead pack, although a lap down after that pit stop on lap number 25. Speaking of pit stops, we're going to see them start to materialize here in just a little bit. I would say in the next 3 to 4 laps, we're going to see some of these guys decide to come down pit road. Last on lap number 10. They're going to come down pit road here in the next, we'll call it the next 5 for sure. We don't see a caution. Green flag pit stops, and as I mentioned, you got to have some friends when you come at a super speedway race. You got to make sure you've got some deals made. So these drivers are on the radios right now. They're in the Discord channels. They're making some decisions. Hey, you going to come down this lap? All right, who do you got? And then all of a sudden you build a pack of 10, and everybody's talking and squawking and figuring it out. We're going to see some pit stops start to click off here in just a little bit. And there you have it. We've got some trucks coming down pit road. I think that was Rob Lowell. Oh, I think there may have been some miscommunication as Ritter hits pit road. Lowell's slow. I think a couple people made a call to come down. Others decided, no, we're staying out. That, and unfortunately for Lowell, that is going to really set him back. Oh, no, it does look like we've got a couple on pit road. And that second pack did come. That's Ritter. That is Kevin Stone, Richard Swavely, Scott for Moses on pit road. So is Alan Marshall, Roger Gregory, Lane Phillips coming down pit road. So, yeah, we do have some action. Folks coming to the attention of their crews. And then we're going to see these drivers come down pit road right here. Who's going to duck out and come this time? Oh, it's going to be a pretty large group of them. That's going to include our leader, Shannon Wood. RB Turner is down. Everybody's got to get checked up. 1, 2, what is that? We're going to call this 11 or 12 trucks down pit road. Green flag pit stops materializing here while Joe Hudson, Doug Roth, Brandon Garand, John Fowler, Joey Gentina, Ron Holyfield's going to stay out for another lap around Talladega. Side by side down the backstretch, and now we've got to have trucks up and down all over this racetrack here, as Garand is going to jump out, and they're going to get single file pretty quick. He needs to do that before going down pit road. You don't want to try to pit from the outside. As got a truck on the outside, they're going to let these guys by. Doug Roth is going to move down. Meanwhile, Brandon Garand, Joe Hudson's going to stay out, but that's going to see the 14 of Argentina. John Fowler, Ron Holyfield's also going to hit pit road. Smoke off a truck, not sure where that's coming from. No caution. We got trucks battling for position down on the apron. Troy Hayes down there. Who else was that? That was RB Turner. And a couple others. They were battling on the apron as they're going to try to get caught back up. There's trucks scattered all over this racetrack. And now these drivers that just came off pit road have all tangled up here with Brandon Garand, Joe Hudson. And they're going to have to come down pit road. Garand dives down deep to the inside, giving Hudson enough room on the outside. No reason to squeeze everybody off there as Joey Jatina, John Fowler, Shannon Wood now. Your top three. Wood's going to cycle out to the lead here, I do believe. As Jatina's going to capitalize here because guess what? Shannon Wood doesn't have a whole lot of speed. He didn't have a whole lot of push behind him. And now Jatina's just going to fall in right in line here. So it's going to be Shannon Wood, Joey Jatina, John Fowler, Vincent Short, Doug Roth. Your top five once this all cycles out. Hudson still down pit road, and so is Brandon Garand. So once those two wrap up their stops, that'll wrap up the first green flag pit stops of the night. Here as we are past halfway at tonight's NC811 Limited Series presented by 7500 on turn one. Hello, everybody. I'm Sean Fitz. Thanks so much for being here. Off last week, but the Daytona 500X was on turn one Monday night with the Cooks Landscape Group Cup Series. That was a great show. And then now the Limited Series returns here tonight. And then 1 week from this evening, we head to Nashville, Music City, USA. And the NCAA 01 Limited Series takes on Nashville. That's going to be a great, I love Nashville. It's a fun track to watch. And this group is going to be no exception there. Tire wear, bumpy track. And you're going to have to be up on the wheel to bring home the checker flag from there. Going to you live, 8:30, 7:30 Central, right here on turn one. Back to the point, Shannon Wood goes. And remember Joey Jatina, 10, 15 laps ago, he was back there 3 wide in the middle for 15th. He played this pit stop just right. Had a great execution down pit road. Good stop under the belt. And he's going to come out of there P2. It all just worked out good for that 14 truck. He has been hot over the last couple weeks. Led a bunch of laps. Has already got a checkered flag in the pocket. And all, for all intents and purposes, had him skunked. At Phoenix, and man, lost it there. I believe it was Phoenix, maybe it was even the track before. Either way, it's been a long month. And Joey Jatina lost internet connection. I believe it was less than 10 to go. Just had it covered. So he's on the point now, looking to bring home and be the first repeat winner of the 2026 NCAA Limited Series. He's going to actually move out of the way, let a lap. He said, all right, who wants to get up here? I don't want to spin the fuel. He goes to the high line. Now he's going to give it to John Fowler. Fowler's not led a lap tonight here, so this would be good for that driver. Everybody likes to lead a lap once in a while. We take a look up at the point standings. And Troy Haight on the top right now for the points. He's 17 points to the good over Robert Barber. Remember, we saw Barber with that a little bit of off strategy pit, and well, that's probably going to cost him some positions in the points if he can't make a recovery out of that. Mike Montesi sitting third. Cody DeForge, Steve Ritter, your top five in points here with this NC811 Limited Series. Scott Formosa is 6th. Richard Swavely is 7th. Kevin Stone is number 8. Joey Jatina is 9th in the points right now. That finish, that did not, the DNF a couple weeks ago did not help him. He's sitting 9th right now. And then Brian Wortman sitting in the top 10. Fowler led a lap here, so a wonderful opportunity for him to get that truck up front. You know, we were talking about 15 laps ago how it was the Chevy show up front, but now it is the Toyota Tundra of John Fowler up front, then 3 Chevys, 2 Fords, 2 Chevys, 1 Ford, and then another Toyota. Those Toyotas aren't as popular. I used to run the Toyota in the trucks here when I used to race back in the day. I say that like it was, 3 decades ago, but it certainly feels that way. But maybe some of these drivers know something I don't. Maybe they've got those Chevys cheated up a little bit. Or those Fords flared out. Who knows? And now, you see this field. It is very scattered out. Top 5 right here. No real momentum. And then Doug Roth is leading the second charge. It's Ron Holyfield, Steve Ritter, Schrader, Millam, DeAndre Kane, and Richard Swavely leading pack number 3. But what you're seeing here is everybody in conservation mode. We talked about what that fuel mileage could look like, right? They're working lap number 42. They came down. A lot of these drivers came down between lap 34 and lap 36, and we know they can get to about lap number 25 on this fuel load, and then they've got to figure something out. Well, these guys are probably riding around about half throttle. They want to try to save that last bit of fuel there. They want to try to make it all the way to the finish here without running out. It is going to be tight. That would put essentially, we'll call it 20. I can't do the math tonight. 36 to 60 or 65. Yeah, so that's going to be right on the number. We'll see if these drivers have enough to make it to the very end. And then obviously you want to get a little racy too. So a little fuel mileage afoot here tonight at Talladega. Let's ride on board with another driver. Let's do it. With the man who brought home the first checker flag of the season. That's Brandon Grant of the one truck. Solid night for him so far. Up in that 5th place spot. Let's take a lap around Talladega with Brandon Grant. I heard some drivers doing a little lift in there, and that just confirms my suspicion everybody's in fuel conservation mode. They don't want to have to come down pit road. John Fowler out front right now. He's got Shannon Wood, Vincent Short, Joe Hudson, Brandon Grant, Joey Gentina there in that front pack. And then it's Doug Roth, and he's got Steve Ritter, Mark Schrader, Ron Millam, DeAndre Kane, Ron Holyfield, and Richard Ron Holyfield's the last truck in that pack. That other truck's a lap down. And that is Troy Haight. That is an unfortunate in a moment there for Troy Haight. I don't know what happened there. He is a lap down, sitting 27th. He's going to need a caution to recover. One caution here tonight on lap number 9. Otherwise, it has been clean and green for the NC811 Limited Series here on turn 1. This race taking a really dramatically different look than a lot of the super speedway racing there. Everybody spread out. There's about 3 different packs of trucks, and then now you see this lead pack at a lap, another truck, and then they're going to have another group they're going to catch up to. That just shows you again how important it is to pit with friends. This top 5, top 6 group just kind of worked together and figured it out, and have really pulled away quite a bit. Speaking of pulling away, remember Joey Gittina leading the last truck in this pack, and then it is a 2.5 second gap to Doug Roth, and then the pack of trucks he has is about 6 trucks deep. And then behind that, Ron Holyfield's an even bigger gap, 8 seconds back to Doug Sigmund. And now keep in mind, this is not like Days of Thunder. You can't just shift it into another gear and make up a bunch of speed. As the laps continue to crank down here, we're getting we're within 20 to go here. And assuming some of these drivers have saved enough or are going to try to be on the fuel number before coming down for a splash of fuel, you've got to think this through, because not only do you need to have enough fuel to the very end, but you got to be able to get caught up. And that could be tricky for especially that second, but really especially for that third pack of trucks back here running at Talladega. It also will be very interesting to see what John Fowler could do. Remember, Joey Gittina led this group for a lap and then came down the backstretch and said, no, I'm going to go back here and ride around at half throttle. Oh, we got a truck on the yellow line. That can get a little squirrely. But Gittina decided to go to the rear of this front leading pack, and Fowler's been up front ever since. And keep in mind, it's hard, it's nearly impossible to save fuel on that front spot, that top spot on the point here. You're the one breaking the air for everybody behind you. Maybe Fowler is, he just knows he's not going to be on the number. He's not going to be able to make it, so he doesn't mind leading this pack around a little bit, but you've got to start developing some plans here. You know, you don't want to come down pit road on lap 60 and only have, 3 race laps to get it sorted out. So certainly something to keep in mind. Hey, Nikki Short, we see you over on YouTube. That's right, hashtag Team Shorts. Or not hashtag, but hashtag Team Shorts, right? Vincent Short right now having a really good night. He's up to 3rd, been running in the top 10 most of the night. He's in prime position. I feel like Short's due for one, and I say that because I have mentioned his name a lot over this last many weeks. He has found himself up and down the running order in that top 10, and tonight could be the night here at Talladega as laps continue to click off here. Got another fan over on YouTube, John Fowler. Hey, here we go, Fowler. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's in a really good spot, right? Who doesn't want to lead laps in a race in this NASCAR truck, right? And then who doesn't want to do it with this really high caliber group of drivers? And Fowler right now is doing it out front. He's been there for, oh goodness, he's been there for about closing in on 20 laps. And making it look pretty easy out there in that Toyota. Oh, we've got action. Trying to find it. There it is. Doug Roth, Mark Schrader. Steve Ritter has come down pit road. Ron Holyfield's come down pit road. So some of these drivers knew they didn't have enough. Pit stops afoot. Will we see this lead pack do that? So we are closing in on very quickly 10 laps to go here at Talladega. Oh, oh. Robert Chappell in chat says he's only leading because I had to work tonight. I don't know about that, sir. He's looked pretty healthy up there. Wish we could have you on the track, though. Thanks for tuning in. You know, I knew the chat room seemed a little quiet tonight. That makes sense. The 87 fan club is not popping tonight. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, man. John Fowler continues to lead. We didn't see anybody come down pit road that last time by. Not a mass group of trucks. Looks like everybody that came down, that was Doug Roth, Holyfield, Steve Ritter. Oh, Steve Ritter had a slow pit stop there. So did Mark Schrader. They're going to fall back a little bit. That first caution really kind of threw a bunch of strategy out the window for some of these drivers, I do believe. As we're going to see, oh, we've got a driver coming down. That is Vincent Short all by himself. Vincent Short's going to come down pit road. The way that caution fell in lap number 10. And then it has been a clean race ever since, has really shaken the strategy up here. Robert Chappell says, I'll be there next week. And with his fans. Robert, we look forward to it, buddy. We'll see you in Nashville. Vincent Short came down pit road for a splash of gas. He is back out already. And that looks like that was just a fuel and go for that driver. We'll see if anybody else elects to come down. It looks like everybody's going to try to make it here. Vincent Short, now, I think he knew he didn't have enough, which was interesting. He's been riding in that third, fourth place position all night. Most of the night here, especially since that first pit stop. So he maybe knows something the rest of these guys told, or maybe he just knew that it was going to be so tight that everybody else has the potential for running out, and maybe others here are just committed. Regardless, we're going to find out here in about 10.5 laps. Fowler, Wood, Hudson, your top three. And then Garand, Jatina, DeAndre Kane, Ron Millum, Doug Sigmund, Cody DeForge, Turner, Stone, Marshall, Swavely back there. Top 15. Let's take a look. So Joey Jatina, the last truck on the lead lap in this group, running 5th. And that is a 5-second gap back here to this second pack of drivers. The first driver back here that came down pit road's Vincent Short. Then it's Ron Holyfield. He's got Doug Roth glued to the bumper. Just trucks spread out all over this Talladega Superspeedway as we've got 10 laps to go here for the NC811 Limited Series on turn 1. Down to that bottom line. And we're going to see the lead pack come down pit road. Need to have perfect execution. Fowler gets slowed up. Shannon Wood makes a pass on the outside. Brandon Garand, Joey Jatina comes down pit road. That is going to cycle the lead to Joe Hudson, as he is now sitting back here. This is some lap down trucks running around in front of him. And then it's Ron Millum all by his lonesome running second, and then Doug Sigmund. He's got the Congo line behind him. That's got the Forge in it. Turner, Stone, Marshall, Swavely, and others. Meanwhile, Joey Jatina's off pit road. He's got John Fowler. Shannon Wood made a great pass on the outside, but Brandon Garand is going to be your leader of that group off pit road. An excellent pit stop for Garand. He's going to cycle out 10th right now, but they've got to get those trucks up to speed. And they're running out of laps here as we got more trucks headed down pit road. That was Scott Formosa. That's a terrible camera angle, but Formosa comes down. And then it also looks like Ron Millum is going to come down. So that's going to leave Joe Hudson in that 23 Chevrolet. What does he elect to do? While Millum hits pit road, so does Doug Sigmund. We got trucks sideways. RB Turner, who was that? I believe that may have been, I'm not sure who that was. Sideways there as we've got the rest of this pack down pit road. So now, that leaves Joe Hudson. He came down lap number 36. And if it's anybody's guess here, I would say he does not have enough to get to the end. But he's going to stay out another lap. Garand is going to be P2. Then it's Shannon Wood, John Fowler, Joey Jatina. Does the 23 truck have enough on fuel to get to the very end? It's going to be a really interesting story. You look here, he is just following in the trail of these trucks right here in front of him. And as a matter of fact, he'd love to see this group that just came off pit road get by him. That would just create an even bigger air bubble there for Hudson. He is our leader right now. He's going to stay out another lap, Hudson. Our leader here. As they're going to come down this long straightaway. We're going to see that 7 turn into a 6. 6 laps remain here at Talladega. On the opposite end of the racetrack, Brandon Garand is leading Shannon Wood, John Fowler, Joey Jatina. This is a race for the top 5 right now, and unless there's a caution, this will be your top 5 finishing orders. Just where are they going to slot in? And then you got DeAndre Kane running 6, Vincent Short 7, Ron Holyfield, Doug Roth, and Ron Millum the top 10. Hudson continues to ride here. And he's going to come down pit road. So that's going to forfeit the lead. Hudson down pit road. And Garand, it's going to cycle out. Remember, they still have a whole half a track here to chew up. But that long pit road is going to be a factor for Hudson. He may be able to get out with this group, but it is going to be close. And you've got to have nearly perfect execution down pit road. It's going to be tough, especially with these 4 trucks. If you can't tag on quick, you're going to lose it. Garand, Wood, Fowler, Jatina, they're all to the good. They're good on fuel as they come down the front stretch. They're going to see the 5 to go signal from the flagman, and they're going to pass Joe Hudson. These top 4 are going to decide the lead here, or decide the winner here tonight, short of a caution. Meanwhile, we look a little further back. DeAndre Kane leads Vincent Short, Ron Holyfield, Doug Roth. Ron Millum is there, and I believe that's Troy Haight in that truck. I believe he is a lap down. These pit stops, as I mentioned, just really shook this race out in an unexpected way. Garand coming down the front stretch here, and we're going to see the 4 to go. Before we wrap it up here tonight, again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in on Turn 1. We'll have some post-race coverage right after the win of this thing, or the end of this, so please stay tuned. We'll talk to our top 3. And then one final programming note. Again, a reminder, Nashville next Thursday night, right here on Turn 1, 8:30, 7:30 Central. Can't miss it. It'll be a good time. Make sure you're there. If you haven't already done so, subscribe, like, follow. If you're on YouTube, do me a favor. If you haven't subscribed, please do. We'd love the support. As they work out of turn number 4, Garand continues to lead. Everybody just minding their P's and Q's. There's no point in getting racy right here. Anybody know anything about super speedway racing? You know there is no point to really get too pushy here until you get to the last lap. No pressure out back. That group is about half a straightaway. They're not going to catch them in 3 laps. Garand continues to lead. Remember, that one truck has already seen victory lane 1 time here tonight. Or this season, rather. And he's looking to be our first repeat winner. Down through the tri-oval they go. And that's going to be 2 laps to go. Now we start to think about this a little bit. Remember that Jatina, he's already won this season. He knows what it looks like to be up front here. And he's just cruising around right there in that 4th place spot, looking to make a run. Who's going to break out with him? Fowler's been up front. He's led a bunch of laps here tonight. And then Shannon Wood. I would say Wood's due one. We talk about him quite a bit. And I believe that's RB Turner. He's up here just hanging around with these leaders, not quite blowing his doors off. As they come down the start-finish line. They're going to see the white flag. It's one more time around for the NC811 Limited Series. Everybody minding their P's and Q's, but who's going to pick up RB Turner? Maybe use him to get a run. You see Jatina, he's got that nose about halfway out. Now we're starting to see it dice up. There they go. They break off. And they're going to send Garand to the back. Shannon Wood's going to pop out up front. But John Fowler right there now. Jatina Garand is on the outside, nowhere to go, and he's got no help. Wood on the inside. It's going to be a drag race down the front stretch here. Can Fowler get by him? He's going to duck to the outside. Side by side, they come down the front stretch. It is going to be a close one. It's John Fowler. What a run! Robert Chappell said he's only up front because I'm not here tonight. Well, guess what, Robert? He's not going to care because that's a checkered flag, and that makes race number 6 with 6 different winners with the NC811 Limited Series. Fowler's going to win. Shannon Wood, Brandon Garand's going to bring home a top 3. Joey Jatina 4th. Joe Hudson's going to bring out the top 5 there. But it's Doug Roth, DeAndre Kane, Ron Millen, Vincent Short, Ron Holyfield, DeForge, Ritter. James Smith's going to come home 13th. Robert Barber 14th. Nice recovery for Barber after falling off that pit strategy. And then Mark Schrader, top 15. John Fowler is going to celebrate on the front stretch. We're going to step aside. Be right back with some post-race coverage. You're watching Turn 1. John Fowler is burning it down on the front stretch, and we will quickly talk to third place, Brandon Garand. Brandon, congratulations, top 3 at Talladega. We saw you bring home the checkered flag at Daytona just a few short weeks ago. Tonight, that one truck looked pretty strong. Walk me through your evening.
Yeah, kind of out there by myself again, so, you know, just kind of biding my time every now and then, and luckily, you know, I did good with the green flag, stopped and kind of got cycled in before the last one with the lead pack, and that kind of helped me. And then I was honestly surprised to come out first. I think I was last in that pack, or Joey was, and yeah, I kind of knew I was the sit and duck in a way. I thought they would make the move off turn 4, but it happened off turn 2. I was trying to use the lap car on the outside of me so they couldn't get to the outside, but yeah, that's what happens when you're out there by yourself, and I'm just glad to get home with a finish. I mean, haven't had much luck since Daytona, so it's good to get a finish, and it's nice to talk to you.
Yeah, I knew it looked like that outside truck there could be a factor, and it looked like you were just trying to keep them tangled up right there behind you. In hindsight, obviously, right, go back about half a lap or so, what would you have done a little bit differently, knowing that, you were in a precarious position on the point there?
Honestly, I don't know if there's much I could have done different. I mean, if anything, maybe a way to get that 30 truck to push me if I would have when I got stuck to the outside, but they kind of split out in front of us, and then it was kind of just 2x2. Fowler was racing with Shannon, and me and Joey were side by side, so it was fun. It was a nice race that only ended up with, I think, one caution, so a really good plate race. And yeah, I don't think there's much else I could have done to come away with the win. I kind of felt like a sit and duck those last like 4 or 5 laps. I was like, all right, here we go, white flag lap, let's see what they do. And I made a slight block, but I wasn't gonna wreck all 4 of us to try to get a win there.
Yeah, I wasn't going to risk it. Well, I think that was the right call. A solid top 3, and really more importantly, a nice points night for the one truck. Brandon Graham bringing home a top 3 here at Talladega. Brandon, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And with that, we'll talk to race winner John Fowler. John, I got some news for you. Robert Chappell, the 87 driver, was sitting in chat tonight. He said you only were up there because he had to work tonight. I think you got probably a message for Robert Chappell knowing that information. What say you?
So he's a teammate. He's a dirty monkey. And yeah, he was the first one to congratulate me. As soon as I crossed the finish line, my phone was going off. So I appreciate him. And if he wasn't here, he probably would be up there with us. He's a good super speedway racer.
John, listen, tonight, obviously you were leading during after that first green flag pit stop. Walk me through the mindset up there. I think some drivers were considering if they had enough to get to the very end. It looked like at one point you knew you did not. Did that just keep you up there? I saw the 14 move out of the way. You went to the back there, maybe tried to save a little bit of fuel. What was your thought process as we were working lap 40, lap 50 there?
Yeah, so me and Shannon was talking the whole time. We was keeping a track of how many laps we had. Yeah, it was awesome, man. My pit stops were on point tonight, buddy. Oh my God, I said, man, after that last pit stop, I said, this could be the night. This could be the night, because it just felt like everything was falling into place. My pit stops were on money. I didn't have Rick Ware pit stops tonight. I was on the money tonight.
Well, on the money and in the money, John, listen, congratulations here. Win race number 6, winner number 6. It's got to feel good here. We go to Nashville next week, and then obviously a pretty extensive schedule all the way through May. Anything you got penciled in on the calendar of maybe another opportunity to visit Victory Lane?
Maybe Michigan. I like Michigan a lot. So I think we go to Michigan. But I told myself this season I wanted to win a super speedway, and I wanted to win a non-super speedway. So I accomplished one goal so far. Now I got to do the next.
Listen, he's got one in the books and looking for another one. John Fowler, your winner here tonight at Talladega. John, thank you for the time and congratulations.
Hey, buddy, thank you, man. I just want to thank a couple people. I just want to thank my Dirty Monkey teammates, Scary Strokes, Race City, Race Memorabilia, Sim 500. Joey's awesome. I knew Joey was behind me. I was like, okay, guys, is Joey going to go with Shannon? I'm pretty sure he's going to go with Shannon. And if so, I'm just hoping that Brandon jumps behind me. But yeah, it was awesome, guys. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go lay in bed, watch the replay beside my hot wife, and and hopefully I'll be cheering on myself.
John Fowler, your winner here tonight at Talladega. John, thanks.
Yes, thank you.
And with that, we'll quickly talk to Shannon Wood, who brought home here second place. Shannon, congratulations. I think that truck looked pretty quick here tonight. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, man, it was real good, real quick tonight. Just come up a little bit short there.
It's so hard, you know, with only like a 4-truck pack, and then you had that the lap down truck there to make a whole lot of something out of nothing. What was your thought process coming out of turn 2? And did anybody kind of influence that at all on that last lap, knowing you were only really going to have one move to make? What were you thinking there?
Yeah, I told Joey behind me back there. I said I'm getting such a run on him right here. He was wanting to pass earlier. I said, no, I'm waiting to the last lap here. I said, I get such a run on him coming out of 2. I said, I can pass him. He said, well, I'm gonna go with you. I said, I don't know what John's gonna do, but John did what he had to do, and man, congratulations to him. I tell you, that's a good run there.
It is. Shannon, we've seen you really, I feel like I've said your name more in the last 4 or 5 weeks than I have in a while. And it just shows you the talent and the variety of what the racing is with this limited series. Obviously, we've got a pretty extensive calendar. I ask you the same question I asked John. What is on your radar? Where do you think you could bring home another top 3 or potentially a breakout with a checkered flag here as we look down the road?
Well, it's pretty obvious I had this one on my radar, so I'm pretty good at Nashville. I think it's next week.
It is.
I really don't know what's after that, but this one was definitely on my radar for sure.
Well, walking out of here with a second place finish is not a bad night, all things considered. Shannon Wood, P2 here tonight at Talladega. Shannon, thank you for the time.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you.
And with that, another night of racing action in the books for the Sim 500 NC811 Limited Series on Turn 1. I tell you, I said at the top of the broadcast, it has been a wild couple weeks with a ton of exciting racing. 6 races, 6 different winners. You can't ask for anything better than that. Again, going to Nashville next Thursday evening. Make sure you're here for that. And 87, I expect to see Robert Chappell up here in the booth after the race with the top 3. Thanks to everybody who tuned in here tonight, supported us on Turn 1 on YouTube and Facebook. On behalf of the league admins, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. We'll see you next Thursday evening for more racing action. Until then, bye-bye.